Hello, Internet. It's been a while, hasn't it? Welcome to Breakaway. Uh, I was away last weekend, so I unfortunately did not get to do a group stream. And so we're back again with my solo stream. And tonight we are going to be playing the Z-Man Edition version of Robinson Crusoe: Adventures on the Cursed Island. This one I like playing a lot solo. However, I'm not very good at it. I've never actually managed to get through the first scenario successfully. It is a very difficult game, but it is a lot of fun to play. I really do enjoy it. So hopefully tonight will go better. Fingers crossed on that. Couple of updates, things just in general. Have acquired a camcorder finally. But the video capture card has not come in, so we're still doing the webcam on the overhead. So those still a little fuzzy and lacks a little detail. Apologies for that. Are trying to get it fixed as soon as possible. The camcorder will also be used for recording video segments for the video reviews. The last Friday video review will, I hope, fingers crossed, be done tomorrow. The last few bits of editing I've ever done were on very short 30-second videos, and a 3-minute video with music and multiple audio tracks is a lot harder. So hopefully, again, that'll be done tomorrow and up. There's also a Arkham Horror retrospective review that just got posted up today without pictures. Pictures will be going up tomorrow for certain. So hopefully, again, that video capture card will come in. The camcorder will become the overhead cam and make things a lot clearer than the fuzzy webcam ever did. Because as I can see now, it's very difficult to tell just the words that are listed on the board here. Let's get started with solo setup for Robinson Crusoe. The point of the game is to go through the scenario card. In this particular scenario, we're looking to A, survive on the island in general, and B, stack up enough wood to create a signal fire that will be visible for a passing ship. And resources aren't easy to come by, so it's going to be very difficult to give up that wood when you also need to use it to build your shelter, and sometimes other really useful items that you could potentially be using that separate wood for. So I drew the character card of the carpenter, which is helpful. He'll help reduce the wood usage. I also have my man Friday, who helps out during the solo campaign, and the dog, who allows some help to explore and to hunt with, which is helpful. I've got some jungle music set up to help fit the mood here. Let me just get that going. And again, if it's too loud, please let me know in chat. I'll definitely turn that down for you. Alrighty. There we go. All right. So it's going to take me a little bit to get back into the swing of the way the game functions. So you'll have to give me a moment, a few moments, as sometimes I'll have to peruse the rules. But the first thing we generally do is we check the threat deck. This is something that we'll miss. So we've already got an event here. Food crates, which is is just washed up on the food crates that washed up on the shore. At the beginning of the next turn, I'll draw the top card, move this one over, and put the top card over here. It'll be something I'll probably have to resolve, or they'll also get a bad effect. And I'll get a bad effect at the end of the next turn. So that's the threat itself. The next is a morale phase. Because I'm doing the single player game, I get to increase the morale up 1 step at the beginning of the morale phase, just for the fact that I'm still alive, which is good, and that's going to give me a single determination token. Those can be used to activate the powers of your particular character. Also, Friday has the ability to reroll dice with his determination tokens as well. So that's helpful. I've also got you can't hopefully around my head here. I've got some things that I managed to salvage from the ship. I've got the snare, which I can build just as the carpenter, but also grab hammer and nails, which act as an extra character for building stuff. That's helpful, especially for the wood. And a pipe and tobacco, which will allow me to get 2 extra determination tokens. I'm probably going to use those right off the bat, just so that I've got a certain number of them. Then we go to the production phase. Currently, my camp is on the beach. It produces 1 wood and 1 food. So we'll go ahead and put those up into my usable bin. So these are things that I'm going to have access to directly at the beginning of the turn, which is important because the wood needs to go into that pile. So right off the bat, I don't think I'm going to be building anything right away. The important part is going to be to explore the island so that I can actually make fire. I need to find a mountain to get a rock to be able to make fire. So before the action phase starts, which is going to be the next phase, I'm going to move that wood over here to my scenario card. So now I have 1 wood in there, and I've still got a long way to go. I mean, there's 14 more wood left. It's 15 total's got to go on the pile. So now I'm going to select the actions that I'm going to take with my character. So I have 2 actions that I can take as a carpenter. I can use Friday for an action as well, and I can use the dog to help me out with either a hunting or an exploration. So there's nothing to hunt yet, not that I really want to hunt right at the moment. But I do need to explore. Like I said, I do need to find a mountain. Also, a tile that has natural shelter would be helpful. So I'm going to use one of my actions along with the dog action. He can only help. He can't do it on his own, to go and explore here. So I'll just put those side by side. Friday, I am going to... Do I have anything I can build that'll be helpful right at the moment? I've only got 1 mouth to feed, so food I'm okay with for the moment, unless I start losing it, which will happen later. Let's go ahead and use the tobacco to get those determination tokens so I can use them. So that's 4 total. And the tobacco is done. I can pretty much discard that card. So now I have 5 determination tokens. Let's see. I don't have any wood. I haven't discovered any additional locations. So nothing really I can build right at the moment that'll be useful. I can't gather on the tile that I'm on because it's my home tile. I get whatever resources are on it right away. I could arrange the camp to gain some more determination tokens. That might be helpful. Let's actually take a second explore action. Now this one I'm doing on my own, which means that I'm going to need to roll the dice for, which can be potentially a little risky. And I'm going to send Friday to the food... actually, no, that's not useful either, because otherwise I'm going to... let's send Friday on an exploration too. Need to find as much... Need to explore the island as much as possible here, no matter what the risk is. Need to find some territory. As I find extra territory, I'm going to be able to get new... discover new inventions things that I can build, so that's going to be really useful. So let's start with the one where I've got 2 that I don't have to roll dice for, so I'm pretty safe there. So this one here, with the dog, I'm going to explore, and I've discovered the river. So the first thing we do is we take a look for any river icons here, so I can build the map, which will be helpful. It'll give me an extra pawn for exploring. I could potentially build a dam, which will provide me with extra food, non-perishable food as well, which is good. So I can stockpile that up, and nothing else. So those 2 things I can potentially build next round. I also am going to be drawing 1 exploration tokens, so there could be something good that I'll be able to use next turn. Let's see what we get. Alright, so I got a specific symbol. Those symbols are listed on the scenario card as to what they represent. So in this case, pirates, I found a pirate saber with the X. This will give me an additional weapon point. So sorry, I start at 1 on the weapons up here. And if I need to hunt or defend the camp, it's going to depend on my weapon score, which can potentially also go down. So I want to make sure I build that up a little bit as well. So that's going to help me out next turn. And sorry, I forgot what the totem symbol is. I actually think I ignore it in... sorry, that's a mystery icon. So for mysteries, I ignore it. Okay, that's what I thought. For this scenario, nothing happens on that one. So I've got now 2 more explore actions to take, but this time I'm doing it alone. So let's start with Friday. Friday's up here. So now I need to grab the dice. Pardon me. And I need to roll all 3 die and then take a look at the results. So let's go to close-up cam, and I'm going to roll the 3 exploration die. All right. So no successful action, but what I will dump is I will dump some determination tokens here, because I can get 2 of them actually, because I can get Friday to re-roll some of his. I can get Friday to re-roll his dice. And especially since I don't want him taking too much damage, so I'm going to re-roll. He's going to take a wound off of that, and it's unsuccessful, so hopefully... Okay, so success. Friday is going to take 1 wound, though, which is unfortunate. But it does allow me to... overhead here, discover another tile, and thank you. All right, so now we have are these the mountains that I'm looking for? Excellent. We now have the ability to discover fire, also a knife, which is going to be also potentially useful, and that's it here. We gain 1 exploration token. The mountains also act as a shelter, so I can move my camp over in the next evening and have a natural shelter. So my exploration token gives me +1 palisade. So this will protect me from animal attacks later on in the game. So that's useful. That goes up here, and it'll be available next turn. And I also have to add an animal to the hunting deck. Let's just verify here. So we will shuffle the beast deck. And now there is a beast available to hunt. Okay, so that action's been resolved, and now we'll take the final one, my exploration. All right, we have a success, but we also have an adventure associated to it. This means I'm going to need to put a marker. I'm going to draw the top card, of the adventure deck and resolve it. We've got here. Tiger! Come on, focus. I either discard this card and execute the night phase outside the camp, or I shuffle this into the event deck. So basically, if I execute the night phase outside the camp, I'm going to take. I would end up taking damage. I'm going to end up taking damage anyway. So it's not going to make too much of a difference right now whether or not, because the camp's not built. I don't have any shelter. I don't have any palisades. I don't have any roof. So one way or another, I'm going to take these effects. So I'm going to discard the card and not put the tiger in the deck. So I'm not going to get surprised by a tiger in the middle of the night, which is good. And we've succeeded with the Explorer action. So we will now have a grassland. Some sort of plains here, which will allow me to construct rope. Good. And the cure. And that's about it. All right, so all actions have been completed. We now move on to the weather phase normally, but there's no weather phase yet. We're not going to be rolling any weather die until turn 4, when we're going to start with some rain, which will eventually turn into some snow, which is unfortunate. So now we move on to the night phase, which, remember, we're not taking at camp, we're actually outside the camp. So we do have enough food to take food for my carpenter. Friday and the dog do not eat, otherwise I would end up taking wounds for starvation. Now I get to decide if I want to move my camp, which I will. I will move my camp here. And okay, so I haven't built a shelter yet, so it's still everything is still going to occur. Food would rot, but I don't have any food left. I'm not in the shelter, so I'm going to take one move for sleeping outside. I expose to the elements. And that is the end of the first turn. So we move on to the second round. And now we'll move on to the threat. So I slide this card over and I turn off the top card of the threat deck. And it says Raging River. Okay, so first off, the island is not a nice place for you. So first off, there's a gray icon on top of, there's a gray question mark icon. This means that we're going to put an adventure icon on top of the gather deck. If I use the gather action, then I'm going to have to take an adventure card regardless of what the die roll tells me. During the production phase of this round, you only get half the amount of produced resources rounded down. If I put a person on there with a shovel, I can build a moat, I can discard this card and gain a determination token, but if it stays in play, if it leaves play without getting resolved, I will have to skip my production phase because the Raging River is going to wipe away my available resources. So that's unfortunate. And I am guessing from the fact that I'm getting only half the amount of produced resources rounded down. I only get one resource. Rounded down means 0 resources, which unfortunately means the wood that I could potentially have used. Luckily, though, I do get these icons, which I can use at any time. those have moved into my available box. Great, so now I absolutely need food. I've produced nothing from the tile I am on. So let's immediately use the saber to increase my weapons up. I haven't built a shelter yet, so increasing the palisades isn't going to help yet. I'm just going to double check on moving the what happens when I find a tile that has a shelter on it. Some island tiles provide a shelter. However, this does not mean you now have a player-built shelter. As such, do not mark the applicable spot on the main board, nor turn the camp token upside down to the shelter side unless you have built a shelter using the build action. Having a shelter is important during the night phase. So why is it even marked then? That is an interesting oversight here. Hopefully I will get a Oh, it would indicate that I only have a shelter. It's not that I built a shelter, it's just I have shelter during the night phase. Okay, I see. So when I get to the night phase, it means I have a shelter. I can't just simply upgrade the natural shelter, it just is provided, which is less exciting, which makes me want to not have moved over to that tile anymore, because it doesn't provide me with much extra. Well, actually, it means that I can take a little less time. Worrying about the shelter for the moment. All right, so we now move on to the morale phase. Morale is still going up because I'm still alive. I gained 2 determination tokens. And I would move the wood over if I had it, but now we move on to the action phase. Let's see here. We really do not want production phase to vanish again. So I'm going to send Friday over to take care of this card. We've got the shovel, and an extra determination token will also be pretty helpful. Going to need some resources here, so we're actually going to take the dog off and myself up to the hunt here. Let's see if we can get anything good. We've got the saber to help with the weapons, the weapon total. Hopefully that'll help us out. And need to start building something here, especially something to help us out with the getting some more wood. One of those things is the mast, which is available here, which requires rope, wood, and fur. And I'm assuming can be used multiple times to produce wood only for the fire. So let's see about building the rope. And I'm going to use my 3 determination tokens to use the handyman, which says to 3 determination tokens to gain an additional token to take the build action. So that means that will automatically be successful as well. All right. So we resolve these in order. Hunting. We turn over the top card of the hunting deck and we fight the beast shown. So we have a fox. He needs 2. Does not reduce my weapons, gives me 2 food and 1 fur. So I have a strength of 2 already, so I will kill it. It'll give me 2 food and 1 fur. So let's see here. Two food and 1 fur. Unfortunately, one of those foods is going to end up perishing for the next round, but we have successfully hunted. Fur's good. That's going to help me with the mast. Sorry, we have our man Friday here. We've got our shovel, so he's going to get a determination token, and we are going to discard Raging River. So we have a moat now, I guess. And finally, we've got the build for the rope. Sorry, this builder token means that it automatically created without having to. Oops. Without having to roll for the adventure. Sorry, roll for the success. So now I have the rope. The rope will allow me to build the mast. And hopefully next turn I will be able to build hopefully next turn I will be able to build the mast. Now that I'll have some wood, and it'll give me +3 wood to be used on the pile, which is pretty awesome. Just want to verify that I can use that one repeatedly. Yeah, it says it can only be used once, so unless it specifically says can be used repeatedly. All right, so we will now move on to our night phase. There's again no weather phase yet. I need to eat 1 food to keep from starving. We're going to stay there with the natural shelter. I don't get a wound for sleeping in open air. We lose the other food. I can use my power again if I get the tokens. And we are back to the next turn. So we start with a threat. We have Cloudburst, which says, escape! Move your camp to an adjacent tile of your choice. Oh, great. Move, discard this card and get +1 roof and palisade only if you lost by moving the camp, which I won't because I don't actually have shelter. So I guess I'm going to have to move back to one of the tiles of my choice. Might as well just move here inland. It'll give me better opportunities to explore later. And I don't. Luckily, I also don't have to, because I didn't have a shelter and I didn't lose anything for moving my camp. I don't have to commit a guy there. The only problem is I won't have shelter for next turn. Threats taken care of. Morale goes up again. I can get 2 determination tokens or heal 1 wound. I will go with 2 determination tokens. And now we begin the action phase. Oh, sorry, resources first. So 1 food, 1 wood. All right, let's see here. So we are going to go on. We could go on a bit of an exploration. We could also build this mast. That will give us 3 wood. That is only for the pile. Considering that's the main goal, I'm thinking that's probably one of the better things to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to discard, again, 3 determination tokens. We are going to use the handyman. So these guys are going to go on the mast. The next, we're going to use the dog and my guy to go exploring. And that's not going to do me any good. So we're going to have the wood and the fur here used for the mast. Well, hold on. Actually, I discovered the mountains, so I can build the hatchet instead, which will give me an extra wood every round. That's actually a much better option to run with. And let's see, Friday, what do I want to do with you? Can't really increase morale. We could heal you up, I suppose. I think you can do that. Still got a little ways to go, though. Well, let's send you to gather. Let's gonna grab some more wood from an adjacent. We're gonna have to roll the dice on that one, and draw an adventure card no matter what. But at least that'll give us some extra wood, which should be extremely useful. All right, so let's go around and start with the explore action, which we finish for free. And let's see here, we've got another grasslands here. We add a animal to the hunting deck. And we draw 3 explore tokens. And what are we going to get? So our first explore token is +1 weapon. That's good. Next is, okay, this one gives me, if I have the pot, then I can immediately get the cure. But of course I don't currently have the pot, so that's not going to help me right away. And I really don't need the cure at the moment, I think. Ooh, and wood. 1 extra wood. Very helpful. All right. Next we go to gather. So Friday's action. So let's go back to the roll of the dice here. He fails the gather action, but he does gain 2 determination tokens. So unfortunately I can't re-roll that right at the moment, so we're stuck with that result. No extra wood there. And then finally my build action gets me a hold of the hatchet. So the hatchet will give me a +1 icon that will go on my camp, +1 wood, which means that I will get 2 wood on the next gather phase. All right. That is everything for the, again, no weather phase here. Yeah, sorry, I keep forgetting. When I get a When I build something successfully, I'm also supposed to get, from the invention card location, I'm also supposed to get 2 determination tokens. So I gotta pull a 4. And let's mark the hatchet with a token. Alright, so we know it's built. Okay, night phase. Get fed. So food goes to me. We going to keep the queue. Yeah, let's move this camp back over. That's going to go into the mountains. Oh, really? I'm not sure. Yeah, the shelters. It's tough. Do I move over to the sheltered spot and avoid taking the wound, or do I stay where I am and get free food next time? No, 1 wound is different than 2. If I don't have food, I'd get 2 wounds. So let's stay where we're at. I get a wound for sleeping in the open air. And I get handyman back. And we move on to the next turn. Now, the next turn, I will be rolling 1 weather die. Which is going to affect I'll also lose wood for the weather, so I'm going to really need to use what I have or build a shelter later on. So let's start with threat. This moves over, food crates goes goodbye. And we draw a new threat card. This time we've got Winter Depression. Oh boy. Alright. Winter Depression. You have no good clothes, no good shelter, and you're tired, hungry, and cold. So morale goes down, which is fine because it's going to go right back up again. If I use one, I commit somebody to the threat and 1 food, I discard and get 1 determination. Otherwise, each player discards a determination token. So not going to be too rushed to deal with that one. We're going to produce 2 wood and 1 food from the tile that we're currently on. And now remember, the rain, if it does rain, it's going to take it before I have a chance to eat it. So it's possible that we will lose food before we have a chance to use it. So these things move over, they're now available. The cooking pot I'm not going to use right away, but the wood and the increased weapon I am. So now I have 3 wood, 1 for 1 food. And we are now up to the action phase. So let's see here. I'm going to take the dog and we are going to hunt, just in case I start losing food. I'm going to take the handyman action. Actually, for which do I want to use it? Actually, let's forget about the shelter for the moment. Two wood are going to go immediately onto the pile here. And then we're going to use the handyman action to build the mast. And Friday, the mast mast is going to require the wood and the fur. Friday, my man. This should have gone, but I didn't actually use the. I should have drawn the card here the last time Friday gathered, even though he failed. Friday, we're going to try getting you to build the shortcut. This is going to help us by getting one of the resources added to the pile. So I'm going to use wood from another tile. So fingers crossed that we'll be able to do that. So let's go ahead and resolve some of this. Let's start with the hunt, because it's the scariest one out of it. We got a gorilla. This is not good. Well, sort of good. It's a 6. I currently have a 3, which means that I will take 3 wounds out of this. Oh, sorry, I also forgot the morale phase. And as a result, I'm also going to take the other determination tokens I forgot to use during the morale phase. I'm going to use for economical construction, to not use the wood when constructing the mast. Sorry, back to the gorilla. So I'm going to take 3 damage. 1, 2, 3, because that's what's the difference between the current strength of the gorilla and the current weapon level I have. I'm going to lose 3 weapons, so I'm going to be back down to 0, but I gain 5 food and 2 fur, which is good because the fur I can use to build the shelter. So weapons are down. Gorilla is dead. 5 food, which I'm going to lose a lot of because it's going to rot overnight. And 2 fur, which I'm going to get to keep, which next turn will be used to build up my shelter. And after the fight with the gorilla, I gain an exploration token. Which is a literal mystery. I get to draw a card until I find a mystery of that type. So what do we have here? I found old clothes. From now on, I keep this card, and from now on, one snowy day, snowy icon on the weather dice equals 1 rainy icon. So that's helpful. A little. Not bad. All right, next we build the mast. So this fur goes away. I lose this extra builder. And I get 3 wood for the wood pile. So this can only go toward the scenario wood pile. And lastly, I got Friday here trying to build the shortcut. So let's go ahead and roll for that success. Fingers crossed. Oh dear God, that was not good. So we got a failure, an adventure, and damage. And I do not have enough to re-roll that. Friday does not take adventure cards. He just takes damage when that happens. So he's going to take damage and gain 2 determination tokens. He only has 1 damage left, so I think we're going to have to hold him back and heal him next turn, which is unfortunate because he would have been really useful, and so would have that shortcut. That is the end of the turn. We now move on to weather, which is going to be rolling. Where are you? Orange the orange weather die. And I get 1 rainy cloud, which means that I lose 1 food and 1 food and 1 wood for the rain. But hopefully next turn I will be able to protect from some of that. It's nighttime, so I need to eat 1 food. We are going to keep the camp where it currently is. I take 1 wound for sleeping in the open air. This decreases the morale by 1 because it's marked on the morale decreasing is marked on my card. And now all the food that that was sitting there rots away by gorilla meat. And now we move on to round 5. This has actually probably been one of the more successful games I've had so far, so fingers crossed. We now deal with the threat. Cloudburst leaves, nothing happened there. And we gain our new threat. Awful weather. You wake up wet and cold. It will be a long and difficult day. Put a rainy die in the weather space. It's going to roll it no matter what anyway. So we have windscreen, an action, and wood. I discard to get 1 determination. Otherwise, at the end of the threat, I have to add... Oh, sorry, not a die. It's add the token to the weather space, meaning it's guaranteed to rain extra. And if I don't get rid of it, it's also going to snow extra, which is not good. So here's the rain waiting for us. So here's the token for the rain, added there. Whew. All right. We generate resources. 2 wood and 1 food. All right, now before taking actions, we're going to take and add the 3 wood to the scenario. Unfortunately, I can only fill in 1 column at a time, so I have to stop there. So we've only got 9 left. Hopefully we can do something with this wood and this fur in order to make sure that the weather isn't going to affect us too much. Check for morale. Morale goes back up. I'm not going to take the determination tokens. I'm going to heal Friday 1 because I still need to use them. And let's go on to actions. So first off, we're going to build us our proper shelter. And we're going to use 3 determination tokens in order to get, right, so I have these guys here, in order to get a dude to help out with that. So we know that won't fail, and this will take 1 fur in order to do. And once that's done, we'll be able to upgrade the palisades for free, but we really need a roof. So let's get Friday on that, and that's going to cost a fur. And since Doggo is not doing anything, let's use myself and Doggo to go exploring. All right, that should do it for actions. So let's get on with the easy ones here. So we get rid of that, and we now have a shelter. Let's flip this over. And we are going to eliminate this token here to increase our palisades by 1. So we now have some walls on the side that'll protect us from animals, but not currently from the weather. Let's deal with Friday's build, which could potentially kill him, so fingers crossed. Well, not going to kill him, but at least he did succeed. Okay, so we are going to have a roof over our heads, but he is going to take one damage for that. And we have a roof to protect us from the elements. And lastly, let's explore what's here. We have a river, which we have already discovered. The hills would be nice at some point. We put an animal in the hunting deck. And we gain 3 exploration tokens, which will be the horizontal line, which is a medallion with a lady, which will give me 3 determination tokens. Excellent. We have 2 food. Also excellent. And another wood. Also excellent. And now we have reached weather phase. Now we've already got the 1 rain, so let's see if we get, well, we're definitely going to have more. We gain 1 extra rain token. Uh-oh. Oh, good. Okay, so the available resources actually move over first. So I get my 3 determination tokens, 2 food, and 1 wood. Because otherwise, if they didn't, I would be screwed. Well, not screwed, just hurt a little bit. 3 determination tokens. So 2 rain clouds, 1 roof, meaning I wouldn't have been screwed, sorry. 2 rain clouds, 1 roof. I lose 1 food and 1 wood. So the roof protects from 1 rain cloud, but not the other one. I need 1 food to keep me sustained overnight, and the rest of the food rots. And that is the end of that. I'm not going to move my shelter. It's fine where it is now. And now I am going to head over to the next turn. Winter Depression comes off. Each player has to discard a determination token. So I will go ahead and discard a determination token. And we take the next threat, which is high water. So first of all, we got our gray exploration on the gathering, and we put the green one on the exploration field. The action is drain. It costs a person in either wood or the shovel. Discard this to get 2 determination tokens. And if I don't take care of it, I discard all resources. There is no production phase this round. So that is nasty. Also remember, I've got the other one still sitting there, which will turn it into winter at the beginning of next turn, unless I deal with it. Morale phase, I gain 2 determination tokens or heal. Let's heal up Friday again. Yeah, or I can start just using him for, I'm just going to start using him for threat cards. So I'm going to take the 2 determination tokens because they're probably more useful this way. Gone away. And now we gather. I'll get 2 wood. Yeah, look at that. Enough wood to fill up the second to last column. So before our action phase, let's take all of the wood. I realize I have not built a fire yet, which is going to be useful. So I may want to think about doing that. So, well, Friday. No, I don't have any wood anymore. Okay, Friday, you're going to take on this drain here. We have the shovel, so we don't need the wood. But unfortunately, I am going to end up with winter in the weather display on the next round. That's unfortunate. Doggo. Wow, I don't have any more weapons though. Well, I'm going to need me a fire, so let's take the handyman. And we're going to build us a fire, because we need it, otherwise we can't actually finish the game. Alright, I'm feeling saucy. Let's go for a hunt. Need the fur, hopefully get us some fur, a little bit of extra food too. Fingers crossed, nothing happened. I gotta remember I've got hammer and nails here to help out as well. I still haven't used that at all. Or even constructed the snare, which would help me get some extra food. Maybe want to think about that in the upcoming turns, because the weather is going to start getting nasty. Alright, so let's get the easy one out of the way. High water is out. We gain 2 determination tokens. Let's get the hunt out of the way. Hopefully this isn't a bad animal. Wild dog. Oh dear. Wild dog. He has a strength of 3. My weapons are currently at 1, which means I will take 2 damage, gain 2 food and 1 pelt, but because I don't have the cure on, I will also take an additional 2 damage. Which is unfortunate. 1, 2, 3, 4. Morale goes down. But I do have some fur and some food and fur, I guess. That's good. I hope. That might not have been worth it. It's not going to help if I build a fire and I'm dead before the ship comes. I have to at least survive till chapter 10. So that may have been a mistake. But we do get to build a fire. And because I built an invention, I get 2 determination tokens and +1 for the fire itself. So I'm going to have to start using my morale here to heal myself before things get really dicey. Or maybe get the pot next turn. That'll help me heal. See how that goes. So didn't take the explore action or anything, so all of those remain there. And all right, weather time. Only the 1 orange die to roll this time. Okay, 1 rain. The roof protects from that, so no worries there. Nothing lost. Well, I get to eat some food, but the remaining food is wasted. Pot wouldn't be real useful there, so I could take that food and use it as healing, because both of us kind of need it right now. All right, let's moving on now. Not only will I get weather, but I will also potentially get wild animals attacking my shelter, from this point forward, which is unfortunate, because that's not going to be fun. So let's start off with our threat. Predator is near you. It says you either share your food sources with the predator or you fight for them. There is no other way. Yeah. So the closest animal tile, camp tile, if possible, is exhausted. Cover it with a cube. If there is no bird, each player gets a wound. Luckily, there is one, so I will cover it over. This just means that it can't be used as a resource. Fight for food. 2 weapons and a person. Uncover the exhausted bird and discard this card to get a determination token. So it just puts the adventure tokens if it leaves, and they're already on there, so that doesn't really threaten me very much. So I'm not going to be looking to particularly quickly get rid of that. I'm also not using the food icon on that tile, so not really a lot done there. So morale phase up. I will heal myself instead of getting determination tokens. I think I have enough. And we produce, that's 2 wood and 1 food. So, okay, so I'm going to use the fur to improve the roof, which we really need to because it's going to start snowing now. So the wood, I'm probably going to end up building the pot as well. So the wood we are going to take and we are going to put on the pile. All right, so into the action phase we go. We're going to use our handyman to bring the roof up. We are going to use, remember, hammer and nails this time. Friday with the other one to build the pot. I'm going to get that for free. Let's use Doggo and myself to explore again. And hopefully, so I am going to have to draw a card for that one. Hopefully we'll find something good there. All right, so again, the easy ones. We're automatically going to be building that. So our roof level goes up to 2. We're automatically going to be building that. So we now have the pot. That's technically supposed to go up there and then slide down when everything becomes available. It isn't there now. It doesn't really matter because it's the night phase anyway. And because we built an invention, we get 2 determination tokens. And we're going to explore, but remember I've got this token here, so... Shrine. So, I could either discard this card, or draw 1 mystery card, and shuffle this particular card into this adventure into the event deck. If I do shuffle it into the event deck and it comes up, it will give me nightmares. Put a reroll success on building gathering resource expert on the building gathering resource expert and exploration fields during the next action of each of these types. You have one V. You have to have one V result. Draw another card. So I'm going to take the treasure, honestly. So this is going to go into the deck because I'm very close to success here, and hopefully I won't have to deal with it. That's the hope anyway. And I get to draw a treasure, and I have found a whip. It gives me a +1 weapon. Keep this card starting next round. Whenever player draws a mystery cards, where he must resolve a number of. Not too sure what that symbol is. He can ignore 1. So in any case, weapons go up 1. That's good. Let's put a black cube over here to remind us that fire has been found. And we finish the exploration off. So we find another mountain, which I suppose is fitting. Slightly more sepia tone, less sepia toned mountain than the other side, giving us food and wood. There's a mystery, but we don't do anything with it. And I draw an exploration token. Again, hopefully something good, like oil, which will give me 2 wood for the pile. And I get oil! This is a symbol that represents oil. So it gives me 2 wood for the pile, which should mean I should have the pile finished by the end of next turn. So if I can survive to turn 10, I will have, for the first time, successfully completed the first scenario of this game. All right. Go into, so this is the end of everything comes over here. The pot goes, sadly, no extra food yet, but I do believe I can use that. I do believe I can use that pot for food token immediately. Now, where are you here? Here we go. You can discard this token to build a cure for free without an action. So let's do that. Not that it really does anything right now, but considering that I got bit by a wild dog and got some form of rabies, might want to avoid having things happen. We roll for weather. So now I'm rolling all 3 die. The winter die, the rain die, the winter weather die, and the animal threat die. So I have 2 rain, 2 snow, and a banana, and a lost food, which sounds to me that I am not eating tonight. I discard, so first add up the total number of winter clouds, and discard 1 wood for each winter cloud, regardless of the current roof level. And I have no wood. Then all clouds add to the current roof. Well, sorry, the current roof level is 2. So I've got 2 winter clouds. I'm fine. Then the total number of clouds is 4 against my roof level, which is 2, which means I lose 2 food, which I only have 1. And I don't have any food to for the hungry animal die, which means I lose 1. I get 1 wound for the animal, and now I have to eat, but I don't have any food, so I lose 2. I am 2 away from death. Morale comes back down 1 because I've crossed that morale. And that's the end of the night phase. That was fun. And now we move on to the next phase. Now, when I was got a little excited that it looks like I might finish, but it looks like I might die. Let's move on to the next turn. Threat. Awful weather, ages off. I put a winter weather token in the weather. I don't think I'm going to make it at this point now. Now that I see it, I'm probably going to die before the end of this. Actually, I should be dead right now because I was unable to discard. I was unable to discard. Yeah. I had unfulfilled demand from the rain. So, because there was no food or wood to discard due to the 4 clouds, which means that I am unfortunately dead. So excited to be almost at the end of this and successful in the first scenario, and once again, just coming up slightly short. Probably, it kind of helped out a little bit, but probably shouldn't have taken as many risks with the fights as I did. Coming up against the gorilla was probably really bad news because while I had the shelter built up pretty well, if I hadn't really had that fight with the gorilla, all the food was wasted from it, basically, entirely wasted from it. If I had had that fight with the gorilla, I might have lasted an extra couple of turns, which would have allowed me to win the game. But sadly, toast once again. Overall, though, I really enjoy the game. It's a lot more stressful with more people, especially when you're trying to figure out who's actually going to starve on a night-to-night basis. That's a little hard. That's a little intense for a lot of people. But overall, I really do enjoy the game. I wish I could get past the first scenario, but I'm always have a good time attempting to play it. And it goes by fast enough. I mean, that was with an hour, and we're close to end game. Again, if I hadn't been as reckless as I was, it would have probably turned out better. Again, this is probably that's one of my favorite solos, so it'll probably go into my regular solo rotation. That I'll keep coming back to it. Hopefully, one day I will properly resolve how to get through this opening scenario. Game night in Canada will be on Saturday night this time. Fingers crossed that it actually will be on Saturday night. I've had some guest booking issues in the last little while, but tentatively planned for Saturday night. So that should be a lot of fun. Look for the video review of the last Friday. Should go up on the internet tomorrow. Fingers crossed. I really hope. I want to get it done. Get that first one done. So that should happen. And again, do check out the Arkham Horror review that is on theboardgamer.com. And we'll see you on Saturday. Have a good night.